Hey everybody, this is Perch, and going through questions again. And this is one that's come up a few times, and it's a good topic. So Shadiqua Flowers writes, "Hey Perch, it's Shadiqua. So yesterday was my first time participating in Free Comic Book Day. I hope you liked it. By the way, the first time going always feels a little bit like this weird celebration because you're used to going into these stores and you're buying everything, but this time you're coming in and you're just like walking out with free comics. It's a head trip. It's weirder if you're on the retailer side of things because you put these things in and it kind of gets to your question you're about to talk about, but you're basically hoping people are going to walk out with those free comics and other comics. But anyway, let's get back to your question because you address this. The comic shop I went to was collecting non-perishables for the local food bank in exchange for an extra 5 free comics. That's a cool move. A lot of people do that. I don't want to take the comics for free, even though it is Free Comic Book Day, but they didn't have the trade paperback I wanted, so I didn't take an additional 5 comics. But I still felt bad that I did not buy anything and got 5 free comics. It could have been 10. Do comic retailers expect you to buy something when you go in for Free Comic Book Day, or is it understood that people will get their free comic and go? I don't know why I feel bad that I took something that was free, but there you go. Well, because you're a nice person, that's why. So it's not what here. I mean, fundamentally, Free Comic Book Day is marketing, and what the retailer is hoping happens is one of two options. Either you're going to come in and you're going to basically browse the shop and buy things. It's why a lot of the comic shops on Free Comic Book Day, they'll often position back issues that they can't sell, or trade paperbacks that have been just not moving, or things that have been they're trying to clear out some of their inventory. So they'll often run sales or do things to try and flush out some of the excess stuff that's just not selling. And they'll often do that on Free Comic Book Day because the idea is that a lot of people are going to come to the shop on Free Comic Book Day to get their free comics. And they believe, and I think believe correctly, that most people who are coming there are excited to get some comics. And so they're not going to stop at just the free comics. They're going to want to pick up a couple other things. It is a shopping trip. Retailers know that people are going to come and just get the free comics and go, especially if you have kids. That is quite common. It's not. Some comic shops have put up rules in the past, like, hey, we have free comics, but you do need to buy something in order to get access to the free comics. That's never gone down well. It's not the spirit of the whole program. And it's, so retailers, of course, is hoping you'll spend money, but really they're happy to see the traffic. And in many cases, what the retailer, I mentioned two things. Either retailer's hoping that you're going to come in and buy something in addition to the free comics, or that you're going to come in, realize that, hey, this place is cool. It has comics, it's got toys and games and whatever else, and I want to buy more things, and therefore I'll come back. And it will take a casual customer or a first-time customer and turn them into a regular customer. Odds are that's what the retailer most would like to see happen. However, it's hard to, you can't see the future, so you don't know what's going to happen and as it play out. But that's why comic shops often also, they'll clean up before Free Comic Book Day. They'll have some basic ways to encourage you to come back. Comic shops lately have been, with Free Comic Book Day, handing out little flyers or making it very clear if they do run games. Like, hey, if you come back on Thursday, we've got games, that kind of thing. They'll make a point to upsell their other services in the hope that you'll come back. That's smart business. Now, granted, for the moment, there are comic shops that put out the free comics. They drag a dirty card table out of somewhere. They just put the boxes down, and it's like they sit behind the counter and just people come in. They frown at everybody who comes in and leaves with free comics. I see those. There's Xanadu. Well, it's unfair because Xanadu went through some changes in Seattle, but there was a point when, was it the UW store or the downtown store? One of the stores. The Free Comic Book Day was just the most half-assed presentation, and I remember going later, late in the afternoon. With another retailer, and why are we down there? I don't remember. Anyway, and we both commented to each other like, what did you do? Well, what did you do? And we were kind of talking over, and they're like, this looks like a store that's about to close. And I think Xanadu did close up shop, but, either next year or the year after. But that is, that's it, the stores that really half-ass it definitely give off the air of they don't care anymore, and it comes across to the customer. It is marketing. It's trying to encourage people to come in. Now, you mentioned the non-perishables for local food bank. A lot of comic shops are also doing this lately, and the reason they're doing this is maybe they're good people, but also they're trying to be clever, and they're trying to double dip in the coverage. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to get media coverage for people to come to the store and get comics, and that's they're basically free advertising. So one of the, just saying we've got free comics often doesn't do it for the local news. But if you're like, we've got free comics and we're collecting food for the homeless, then that's a news story, and you can get your local news to come down, and you can, do some filming, and it's basically a free commercial for your show on TV, on the news, and that's what they're trying to do. So I guess long-winded way of saying, you shouldn't feel guilty if you went in, especially if you're a customer. If you're a regular customer at this store, then it doesn't matter at all. I know that at least at my store, when people would come in and they've got a pull box and everything else, I mean, I take as many comics as you want. You could take 10, you could take 20, you could take everything you have. You're already a returning customer. So in my mind, it's, when I'm giving free comics out, it is pretty much all I'm doing is trying to bait you into putting more things into your pull box. That's what's in my head. So if you're picking up free comics, that's just, I got them cheap. I got them through the free comic book day incentive program, and I'm just trying to get you to pick up some of those books, and hopefully a couple of those will convert into another long-term sale. But if you're already a customer, I already know you're there. You should feel zero guilt about taking as many comics as you want. Same thing if you've got kids and you go into one of these shops. Most comic shop owners and retailers, workers will not mind if you take extra comics for your kids, because that's just the next customer. That's the next generation of customer right there. You want that to happen. So I guess, as an expectation, retailers, they don't, they're hoping you're going to buy something. Very few will get, annoyed at you if you don't buy anything. If you come in and you're like, well, here's my comics and go, it's going to be fine. I mean, ultimately you're the customer, and it's free comic book day. So you're in control, and if you want to buy something, you buy something. If you don't, you don't. That's the nature of running a business. And I don't think you should feel bad about it. And I don't think that you should feel any obligation to do it. At the end of the day, Free Comic Book Day is about marketing more than anything else. It's trying to gain recognition for the store. It's using the kind of very age-old idea of, if I get 100 people to come through the store, 5 of them will become regulars. And that's, 5 more than I had the day before. And that's why the free comic book comics are so cheap, and they're subsidized and everything else. And that's the entire nature of the game. So if you don't find something else to buy, don't worry about it. I know people who used to come into my shop and be like, I deliberately held off on some purchases for a month so I could buy them on Free Comic Book Day. And I always was thinking in my head, like, why? Just give me the money when you have it. You don't need to hold off on your, like, I don't know what you're doing. Just, if you come in, 3 weeks before Free Comic Book Day and buy a, $100 omnibus, I'm happy. You don't need to wait till Free Comic Book Day to give me that $100. Just buy it whenever you want it. And if you then come back 3 weeks later and take 10 free comics, you good. I'm still remembering you bought that $100. I'm happy. So I wouldn't worry about it. To be fair, I know some retailers make it very awkward. Definitely that's the case. I know retailers who have kind of made it feel very uncomfortable to just take the free comics and go. But that is the purpose of the event. So anyway, great question, Shadiqua. I hope, thanks for listening to the channel and everything else. And I hope you had fun on Free Comic Book Day. At the end of the day, if the store was doing it right, it's kind of a fun atmosphere. It's an opportunity to kind of check out a bunch of new stories and everything else. And I hope you found some things you liked. So thanks for the question. If you have a question, email is in the description of the video, so shoot it my way, and I'd be happy to answer it, and that's always fun. And thanks for listening.